My parents sold the family store to give my brother $120K for a doomed business, then tried to run my company. Now they're broke and barred. My family owned a hardware store in our town for 30 years. My dad opened it when I was 3, and it became a local staple. Everyone knew Fletcher Hardware. Growing up, I worked there every weekend and summer, stocking shelves, helping customers, learning the business inside and out. My older brother Ryan worked there too, but he hated it, always complaining about how boring it was, how he had bigger dreams. When I graduated high school, I told my parents I wanted to take over the store someday. My dad just laughed and said the store was Ryan's birthright as the oldest, even though Ryan had already told everyone he wanted nothing to do with it. I went to college for business management anyway, graduated with honors, got a decent job at a marketing firm, but what I really wanted was to start my own thing. I saved every penny for 3 years and finally opened a small online boutique selling handmade home decor. Started in my apartment, just me and my laptop. Within 2 years, I had 5 employees and an actual warehouse space. We were pulling in about $400K annually. Meanwhile, Ryan had been bouncing between jobs, always talking about his next big idea. In 2019, he announced he was starting a craft brewery, said it was going to be huge, that our town needed a local beer spot. My parents thought it was genius. They offered to help fund it, but Ryan needed $120K to get started. That's when my dad called me with the news. We're selling the hardware store to give Ryan his shot. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. That store was legacy, it was community, it was 3 decades of hard work. I begged them to reconsider, told them Ryan had no business experience, no plan, nothing but an idea and their money. My mom said I was jealous that Ryan was finally doing something big. The store sold in 3 months. They handed Ryan a check for $120K and kept maybe $30K for themselves. Ryan's brewery opened in August 2019. By December, it was already struggling. Turns out Ryan knew nothing about running a business, managing inventory, or even brewing decent beer. He was buying expensive equipment he didn't need and giving away free drinks to his friends. The place was empty most nights. By March 2020, when everything shut down, Ryan's brewery was already drowning in debt. He closed permanently that summer, having burned through every cent plus another $40K he'd borrowed on credit cards. My parents were devastated, but they blamed the pandemic, not Ryan's terrible choices. That's when they turned their attention to my business. My boutique had actually grown during lockdown because everyone was shopping online. We'd expanded to include furniture and we're doing about $650K a year. One day my mom called and said they wanted to help me since they couldn't help Ryan anymore. I should have seen it coming. They showed up at my warehouse unannounced, talking about coming on as partners, said they had retail experience and could help me scale up. I politely declined, explaining I had a solid team and a working system. My dad got angry, said after everything they'd sacrificed for Ryan, I owed them this opportunity. I reminded him that I built this company with zero help while they gave Ryan everything. That didn't go over well. 2 weeks later, I found out they'd been calling my suppliers, introducing themselves as my business partners and trying to negotiate new contracts. One supplier actually changed our terms based on their conversation, costing me $8K. I had to send legal letters to all my vendors clarifying that my parents had no authority to act on behalf of my company. Then they started showing up at the warehouse, walking around like they owned the place, telling my employees how to do things. One of my best workers quit because my dad kept criticizing her packing methods. I finally had to ban them from the property. That's when things got nasty. They tried to file a lawsuit claiming they had a verbal agreement to own 30% of my company because of family contributions. Their lawyer laughed them out of his office when he realized they had zero documentation, and I had never taken a single dollar from them. The judge dismissed it immediately and warned them about frivolous lawsuits. But they didn't stop. They created a fake social media account and started leaving horrible reviews on my business pages, saying I sold damaged goods, ripped off customers, treated employees terribly. I traced the IP address back to their home internet, got a lawyer involved and filed a cease and desist. When they ignored it, we went for a restraining order. The judge granted it, barring them from contacting me or coming within 500 feet of my business. Now Ryan lives in their basement, working part-time at a grocery store. My parents burned through their retirement money trying to sue me. Last I heard, they're selling their house to move into a smaller apartment. My boutique just hit $800K in annual revenue. I hired a new operations manager last month and we're expanding into 3 new states. Haven't spoken to any of them in 2 years.